A very warm welcome from the Mega Ministry Area. I'm Jeremy, the Ministry Area Leader, and welcome to the next in our series of short reflections on some of our favourite psalms. In my lounge in the rectory, I have a print of St Olaf's Church at Wasdale Head, a tiny hamlet at the northern end of Wastwater in the Lake District. It's a wild and a remote place, surrounded by high fells, including Scafell, the highest mountain in England. The church, which claims to be the smallest parish church in England, contains the graves of many mountaineers, some of which have died in climbing accidents around the world. Inside the church is a very simple and mainly clear glass window, which looks out onto the grandeur of the mountains beyond. And it's inscribed with the opening words of one of my favourite psalms, 121. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my strength. Let me just read you a modern version of that same psalm. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. For the Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in, from this time forth and forevermore. Psalm 121 is one of the Psalms of Ascent. It originally would have been sung by the Israeli people as they went on their pilgrimage to the temple in Jerusalem. Those journeys would often be long and arduous, and not without their dangers. The words of the psalm are written to encourage the pilgrim to look upwards towards God for their protection and for their help. The pilgrim was always encouraged to turn their focus away from their anxieties and their concerns, and instead to focus their attention upon God and their ultimate destination. The words of the psalm would have been well known by Jesus, and I like to think he'd have been singing them as he made that last earthly journey towards Jerusalem. It's a psalm that's been an inspiration and a comfort to me in difficult times, when I've been faced with the death of a loved one. The words never fail to encourage me, to lift up my eyes from all the things that concern me, to look beyond my present troubles and difficulties, and look towards God. I find that to be a great comfort, as well as a great help. It doesn't mean those difficulties are miraculously wiped away, but it does remind me in those times that those things will pass, and that it's God who gives me the strength to endure whatever it is I have to face up to. They're words I found myself turning to several times during the coronavirus pandemic, and also words that I've shared with other people, especially those who've lost loved ones. We live in very challenging times, and I think it's becoming more and more obvious that the coming months are going to be difficult for so many. When life gets difficult and we find ourselves struggling, perhaps we may find it helpful to turn to the words of Psalm 121, perhaps even to memorise it. And as we do so, perhaps we find ourselves lifting our eyes to what's beyond us, what's troubling us, to look to God for our help and comfort, to remind ourselves that God isn't someone who's far distant from us, but instead is someone who walks beside us, who feels and who understands our pain, that he's the one who can give us strength to endure, to continue on our earthly life. Psalm 121 is a prayer for God's blessing and protection to be upon us. And may each of us hear and receive that blessing. Amen.